Good morning and welcome to another episode of J Talk. I'm coming to you live again from the Standford Graduate School of Business here on one of the rooftop decks of Highland Hall, one of the residences here. Today I'm very, very happy to welcome a very, very good friend of mine here at the Standford Business School and someone who I greatly admire and respect. Talk a little bit about his life, how he got to the business school, what he's been up to, what he's thinking about moving forward. So without further ado, let me welcome Habib Rizkallah, all the way from Lebanon, to J-Talk today. Habib.
Thank you, Jason.
Great to have you here.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm actually very, very honored to be on J-Talks. Thank you.
Habib, it's really great to have you. You know, we've had a lot of great times this year since we first met the week before business school. And how's it been for you this year?
This year's been... It's been a little bit of a happy roller coaster. It's been exciting at times, challenging at times. Overall, I would say I've been stretched more than I've ever been stretched in this year. I've learned so much from meeting people in the business school and just learning from simply being around them. It's been a fascinating experience.
Fantastic. And so you've just come off actually a retreat for one of the capstone classes at Standford, the interpersonal dynamics class. Weekend-long retreat. They say that people are pretty emotionally raw after that. How are you doing?
I did just come off this retreat 2 days ago actually, and it was definitely challenging because it's very intense class and it's a very intense retreat. The retreat was unlike any other educational experience I've had. Most of the time was spent in a room talking to fellow students in a group. So that sounds fun, but then when you do that for 14 hours, it becomes a little bit more of a challenge. But I'm still feeling a little bit, like that was quite a heavy load. But I'm so happy that I actually did that. I learned a lot from that retreat.
Fantastic. So before school, you grew up in Lebanon.
That's correct.
Did all your schooling there, and then were working around the Middle East. Could you tell us a few stories from those times?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I grew up in Lebanon, and there's a lot to talk about growing up in Lebanon. I think it's one of those beautiful and unique places in the world. I basically studied engineering because there was a very clear lack of talented engineers in the country. So I saw that as the way forward for me. And then I had the fortune of working in consulting with a consulting firm in the Middle East. Most of our work was within the Gulf countries and developing countries there, where I got to witness some very interesting market dynamics playing out. As you know, the Middle East is a little bit of a unique region, especially nowadays with everything that's happening with oil in the world. I was very fortunate to be able to, for example, support the government of some of these countries in decreasing their budgetary load, in nationalizing certain assets. So just the set of challenges and the way that they are being faced in the Middle East today, I believe is something that's very unique and holds a lot of lessons for the rest of the world in terms of development and growth.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that sounds like quite a phenomenal experience, and that you learned a lot through that. And then throughout the conversations, you've talked a little bit about an initiative you started in Lebanon to try to bring different groups together, a non-profit organization. Can you say a little bit more about what the work you've been doing with that?
Sure. Let me take a little bit of a step back here to give a background on Lebanon. So Lebanon, I was born in Lebanon in 1990, which is when the civil war ended in Lebanon. Prior to that, we'd had a 15-year-long civil war that had basically segregated the country into different geographical areas with different sects. So the civil war that we were having was along religious lines. And so I realized when I was around 17 or 18 with a group of my friends that we were all from one particular religion. We were all Christian, and we didn't have any friends from the other religions within our country, which in a country that is 70% Muslim or so was surprising.
Yeah.
It was unacceptable. And so we started getting together and having meetings that would bring us or people or our friends together with friends from the other communities.
Yes.
Initially, that started off as small meetings, but eventually it grew into an organization that is still operational today. Within the first 2 years where we were working on it, it was a very rewarding experience to actually see relationship flourish, to see the prejudice that was propagated because of the Civil War starting to be broken by people, interacting with each other, engaging, connecting to each other, realizing their humanity, what makes them common, and rather than what makes them different. That experience has been one that has marked my development, and when I look to the future and what I want to do, part of the work I see myself doing in the world is bringing people together, and this was definitely very formative for that life orientation.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, for us together, we had an experience just recently where we were part of the study trip to South Africa and understanding the history of that country. And for me, that was a very moving and emotional experience, getting to go out to Robben Island, see when Nelson Mandela and the other freedom fighters had been locked up. Are there any particular memories from there that you drew some parallels to your own experience in peace building in Lebanon?
Actually first, yes, definitely. So I would say during that trip, we were fortunate enough to be meeting with some very, very interesting people who were on the forefront of dealing with some of the issues at the heart of South Africa's current challenges. I remember in particular meeting some of the students from the Fees Must Fall movement, who were very impressive, fiery individuals who were really compelled by a lot of passion for what they saw as their country, and that reminded me of some of the passion that I see back home, some of that fiery attitude. I also noted that it was just this youthful energy that sometimes makes people push a little bit harder, overstep a little bit, and I noticed that also in Lebanon. And so one of the parallels that I saw and that I took away is just the value and the importance of the youth being heard, of actually understanding what are the challenges that they're facing. An educational system that is not working, a work environment or a job marketplace in the country that is not sufficient. Those are the things that drive the angst in Lebanon, and from what I saw, those are some of the fundamentals that are driving a lot of the pressure in South Africa. But overall, I thought the country was absolutely gorgeous. I really enjoyed my time in South Africa. It was an amazing experience.
And then for us in Kenya, actually, I mean, big year with us. We have a big election this year in August, and we really want it to go peacefully. The fallout that can happen if it doesn't is really a detriment to all Kenyans. And in fact, we're seeing it. I mean, I see it at Stanford, where Stanford is not funding any students to go to Kenya this summer. Pull the plug on that funding, it's really unfortunate for our country, because we don't get people out to come and see it. We don't get potential investment down the road. Would you like to just finish up with a message of peace for our country, for Kenya, before we finish?
Definitely. So it's very interesting to reflect on this as a Lebanese person to be saying such a message of peace, because I've grown up, and I think every Lebanese person has grown up in the last generation, grew up in a country that was trying to rebuild after a long civil war, after long periods of hate. And although the guns might have been silenced, the impact on that is going to take generations and generations and generations to clean. I look at my country with a hint of sorrow because I know how great it could be, and I know that it's not because my countrymen, including myself, look to themselves first before their country. So my message to Kenya and Kenyans is to look to others, to look to their countrymen, to look to their country, to look to their nation, what they will give to their children before they look at their immediate needs. I wished my grandparents' generation had done that. I wish my parents' generation had done that. And I hope that my generation will be able to do it for my country, and I have the same message for Kenya. I believe in that great nation. I believe in Kenya as a great nation. From all the stories that you've told me and the little snippets of Kenya that I see through you, it's there's some real power there.
Great. Well, Habib, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on J Talk.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to many more great conversations during our time here and beyond.
Oh, that's definitely going to happen.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good day.